Hey, I'm Bryce Menzies. We're out here in Reno for the Wild West Lucas Oil 2013 series. We're out here racing a Pro 2 today. This is a truck I'm racing out here in the Lucas Oil series. I also race in the Torque series with my Red Bull truck. But for this series, we're racing this Loctite BFG truck out here. Kind of give you a couple facts about it. You know, these trucks are limited to what we could do with it has to be a tube frame chassis. We got about 18 inches of wheel travel front and rear, 35-inch BFG tire, especially made for off-road racing. We got about 430 cubic inch of motor. And we're out here in this big track. It's about a 1.5 mile track, so these things rip around here about 90 miles an hour average. So they get up and go, and they're two-wheel drive in the rear. We got turbo 400 transmission, and this is what we do off-road racing. Yeah, what we got under the hood here is, we run Fox shocks, about 18 inches of travel. We got a coilover and a bypass. You got tubes on all the shocks to, kind of balance out the truck, tune the truck for the track that you go to. Some tracks are more rough, some are softer. So, throughout the race or throughout practice, we'll tune the shocks to whatever setup we need to make work for the truck. So that's what we have under here is the Fox shocks that we run on all my trucks in off-road racing. What we got here is a 430 cubic inch motor built by Croyer Racing Engines out of Las Vegas, Nevada. It resembles a Ford, but pretty much this whole engine is built, for off-road racing. It's somewhat of a NASCAR engine in an off-road truck. We also have a turbo 400 transmission in this thing that's also built by Croyer Racing Engines and transmissions. He does a fantastic job. I run all this stuff and all my off-road stuff, and he seems to keep it alive and give us the best power. Yeah, as you can see under here, we have a turbo 400. It goes into underdrive. That way we could pull the underdrive apart and change gears for different tracks to use for setup. Some tracks you want a shorter gear, some tracks you want a longer. And it works its way down the drive shaft in the rear end housing, which also Croyer Engines, does all our rear gears with this stuff in here. We run a 5.0 gear, and then we run all Pro-Am stuff for brakes, rotors, all that type of stuff. And then you also got the Fox shocks here in the rear also. And that's kind of the rear end of this truck, Pro 2, two-wheel drive. Yeah, right here we got a Fox shock for the rear. We run about 18 inches of travel. This thing is two-wheel drive. As you see, it's a Pro 2, called a Pro 2 in the series. Which is really, really hard to manage in a two-wheel drive to have 900 horsepower to put it to the ground. It gets real technical to, use the throttle to get the traction that you need to get off the corners and make these things work the way that they're made to work. Yeah, what we got back here is, we run Fox shocks on all my off-road trucks. We got a bypass right here with tubes that you can change throughout the race course. If the course is getting, bigger jumps or smaller jumps, we have, these tubes to open or close to make it work throughout the track. This is the cockpit that I sit in. You got kind of all your switches here, from the starter switch, power on switch. Anything happens where we catch on fire, we have a pin where we can pull that. 3 fans, cooling fans for the motor, transmission, everything like that. It's a turbo 400. We got first, second, and third gear in this thing, and that's pretty much the basics of the cab inside here. One of my biggest sponsors I have is BFG. They do an amazing job with their tires and developing these things. We got a brand new tire for this season. They just came out with. We're working on a brand new groove pattern for just this race course that we've actually tried today. And the engineers over there are unbelievable. They worked so hard to push us forward. And with these tires that we just tried, we didn't even know if they'd work. We came out second qualifying, only 2/100ths of a second off first place. So I got to give my hats off to these guys. They do an amazing job with tires, and they're one of my biggest supporters, me in off-road. Because I just came in this truck, I've raced this truck 2 times already this season, so this is the 3rd time we'll be racing this thing. We qualified second today, just 2/100ths of a second off pole, so we're really looking forward to this race. This course is amazing up here. We got, speeds up to 90 miles an hour, huge flying jumps where we're flying 100 feet. This course is a 1.2 or something like that, so it's really long, really wide open. It's gonna be a great battle out here. Hope you guys enjoy it.